Hello.
Hello, how you going?
Good, thanks.
My name's Kyle, I'm one of the doctors here.
No worries. I just wanted to find out, what's the need for him to be here when he's medically fit and nothing's deteriorated, and everything that we've been doing here, we've been doing that since he was last discharged anyway.
Yeah.
Apart from obviously the x-ray, because I did explain to them we couldn't make it in for that, to the
Yeah.
city for that, because DCP had sent us back to Victoria
Yeah.
to our house to meet with the electrician that never showed up to do the reconnection of the power at our house, which obviously put us out a bit more funds. They did give us $200 of fuel vouchers to go, but $200 of fuel from in the suburbs of South Australia across to Victoria and to come back is not much.
Yeah.
And we've used up the last of our Centrelink funds that we had. That's the reason why we couldn't take him in for his x-ray. I did also notify the hospital of that. His feet and everything has been fine. His overall health has been perfectly fine.
Yeah.
We're continuing on with the discharge plan with the medications and the creams and whatnot. So I just wanted to see
You were already
what was going on.
taking the antibiotics at home anyway. So
Yeah,
you was on
outside.
the tablet twice a day.
Yeah, and the acetretin once a day,
Yeah.
which I don't think you put that up yet, or you haven't had that on. His eye drops 4 times a day, and then epiderm cream twice, and then the diprozone once or twice, depending on if the redness comes back.
Yeah.
You can do it twice, otherwise once. And just in the red areas.
Yeah. So essentially this has been taken out of our hands, and if it was just for the medical issue, you wouldn't have been admitted into hospital.
Yeah. So at the moment, DCP had funded, well, they said over the weekend, but they only funded one night at Loxton Hotel. One of the doctors here from the emergency was kind enough to give me $50 for him to use for fuel this morning to get back there.
Yeah.
So they literally were there about 2 o'clock this morning, and then had to check out this morning before 10. So at the moment he's sitting out in the car with the kids. The DCP lady spoke to him this morning. I haven't actually spoken to her because she hasn't given me a contact number to contact her.
Yeah.
And waiting to find out what's going on. Obviously it's hot outside, they're sitting there.
At the moment as well.
Yeah, but what do you mean? I haven't been told if I need to bring them in, or when to bring them in, or what's happening with that. I'm not sure.
See, I don't know from my point of view. Essentially, they were saying that there's going to be a review of everyone at 2 p.m. today.
Oh, at 2 p.m. So they haven't given me a time.
Been on the phone to them
this morning. Yeah. I don't think they told him the time frame or nothing. I wasn't sure too. Yeah, because obviously, just waiting. We don't know what's going on, and we don't. Obviously, he doesn't really need to be here. What he really needs is stable accommodation.
Yeah.
And the reason why we're back in the van because they kicked us out from the motel Scotty's motel in the city, where we were whilst he was at the hospital for a while there, and a little bit after that until the 2nd of January.
So you're in hospital at the Women's and Children's, and the family was in Scotty's motel, and that was funded by
the DCP. But that wasn't the whole time. There was a period of a couple of weeks actually. Whilst we were in hospital, my partner was still in the van with the kids in the suburbs, and they well and truly knew about that. And many times they said they couldn't fund any more accommodation for us. So they've been there, even the other day when we had the thunderstorm and the lightning out this way, we were obviously in the van. They know we have nowhere to go to. They pushed us to go back there.
And there's residents in Victoria that's just waiting on a few things to happen.
Yeah, according to DCP, we own a property in Victoria, which has been trashed by a bunch of Nazis, technically because we've spoken out against them. We don't agree with them whatsoever. And obviously we have a lot of issues with what they've done to us over the course of time, which is literally ongoing, and it's escalated to the point where it's escalated to right now, where they've trashed our house. They've broken in, they've stolen stuff, even they've ripped the shed apart. They've left the door wide open. So rodents had gone in the house. There's mice feces, there's bird feces, all sorts of stuff in there because they left the door open. So, and then we were renting here at Burton, and that finished up in August. And the private landlord there wasn't willing to extend the lease any further for that. So even before that, we've been looking for a rental property anywhere, and we're being blocked from getting anywhere with that. So then literally the last resort was, okay, we'll go to our house, we know it needs cleaning, but at that point the power box and everything was still connected. So that was okay. So we made plans and we went across. I think it was about August 20th or so. And I got an electrician to come to do a electrical safety certificate, which is what was required. Just for him to come and show up and then say, I can't do it. And I said, what do you mean? That's what they want me to get done. Oh, they've taken off your power box off your house. So I had to look around and find out. I had to ring up, contact Power Call, which are the ones that supply power there, to find out what happened, because I wasn't notified of anything. So there was a defect notice given in 2019, which we never got. We were never there at the house at that time. And according to them, that belongs to them. They have the authority to remove that. So I have complained about that, because they only removed it the week before we went across in August.
Yeah.
That's 4 years. Now, if you do research, it will tell you if you get a defect notice issued on any kind of electrical fault, you get 21 days to rectify that before they may consider taking that off. Not 4 years. Now I've brought that up with them, but according to them, that's perfectly fine. So then that kind of put us back into the situation. Okay, so I have one running vehicle that has 8 seats in it. I have another car that doesn't run because it's been messed around by a lot of mechanics. So I've spent a lot of money on it, and it's still not been up and running for a couple of years now. So the next plan was, how can we travel to stay all together and something that might be a little bit more affordable? So we ended up getting the budget van. It's 12 seats that fits all of us, plus a little bit of stuff you can put in, some clothes the kids need, some food, whatever.
Yeah.
And literally since August, we've just been in the van. And over the period of time, his feet got to the point where it got to, and we had paid for holiday accommodation, which we had a transaction dispute with the bank. I had about $4,000 taken from my bank over the time, so that made things quite difficult, and the dispute process took a lot longer than the 45 days that it was supposed to. Eventually I got some of that returned to me, and we tried to organise holiday accommodation and whatnot, even when we messed around with that. But that was the reason why we had funds to eventually bring him back to go to the doctor at Elizabeth, and then he was referred to go to the hospital at Elizabeth, and then from there on to the Women's and Children's to continue on with his treatment and everything. Yeah. The DCP are well aware of the whole situation. They've said many times they can pay for the power to be reconnected at our house or pay for a rental bond, and then they say they can't fund that. So they lie, and they seem to be quite abusive, and I know like they're just mucking around quite a lot. This is the second electrician now that's been there that they've organised to give them a quote. And they say they can get it done, and then they say they can't get it done, and then they tell me if I have any issues with the power to contact the power company directly, not to discuss it with them. They sent us there on Tuesday the 2nd. In the morning we were told we had to check out from the Scotty's Motel. So that was supposed to be 10 o'clock. We ended up getting out about 1 o'clock. And then late on the Tuesday afternoon, DCP told us, look, the electrician's going to your house tomorrow. And we said, look, we don't want, whether it be an electrician or anybody just going to the property whilst we're not there, because we have ongoing issues when people are coming and going and doing what they please. Like literally every time we'll go there, inside the house, they'll move different stuff again, or they'll tamper with something again. So they're constantly going in and out of the house there. Nobody can see anything or say anything. The fence is this short all the way around. It's a quiet town, you would see. Even if someone's ripping the tin off your shed or breaking the shed door down, they would see. Plus travelling in and out many times, taking whatever they wanted. But they can't. So we travelled across there, thinking maybe this time DCP will stick with their word. Maybe this power will go ahead. Like, we're putting hope into that, because there's nothing else really we can do except for go to our house. We're not getting anywhere. Yeah. So we went there. The electrician never showed up, so obviously we have to come back. And then we got stuck until where we were yesterday, where the police and the ambulance came out, was where we've literally been since then. We've came into a shop here a couple of times and then gone back out there, and then we were just going to wait out there until we have enough money to come back in. When my partner gets his payroll from Centrelink on Tuesday. Yeah. So DCP are well aware of what's going on. They put us back in the van many times, even when we're at Scotty's there. They don't care. They know they're putting him back in the van. They know we had nowhere to go to. They know they made us check out from the motel without a plan as to, where are we going to?
Yeah.
Even we've asked them many times, okay, we're supposed to check out to go where? You told me if I take my kids in the van, you will take my kids from me. This is what they told me early on in the start of it all. And at that time, I was at the hospital with him and her, because obviously she stays with me, at the Women's and Children's. I think that was the second admission that he was in. And then we went back to the motel for 3 days. And the same day we went back to the motel, his feet started showing with a bit of a red rash again. And then by Monday, it came a bit more on the sole of his feet, because it generally comes on the side first. And then at that point in time, the RDNS nurse was coming out to take out the stitcher that he had from his biopsy in his leg, and I discussed that with her. And then it was recommended that Monday he'd go back and be readmitted again. But DCP, they know.
Yeah.
They kick us out from the motel many times. To go where, they can't answer. It's like they can't give you a straightforward plan. Like right now, like they're funded for my partner and other kids to stay at the motel was supposed to be for the weekend, but it was just since like 2 o'clock this morning to 10 o'clock, was that like 8 hours?
Yeah.
And then right now, obviously it's quite hot outside. What is it, 37, 36, something? I'm not sure. Right now, like they're sitting in the van waiting to know what's happening. Where do they go? What's going on? Even we don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
He's medically fine. Like, we continued on with his treatment. I notified the hospital I couldn't attend, and the reason why I couldn't attend his appointment. And then all of a sudden, I'm going to come now and take him from my custody. Yesterday, take.
What time did you get brought into the emergency department yesterday?
Was it 7 or 8 o'clock?
Yeah, something like that. Because the police came out to where we were pulled off on the side of the road at like a pull-off area. And they were there for a while. They said they were waiting on the ambulance to come just to do a health check and make sure it was fine. So we waited for that. It took about an hour or so. And then a bit of time again after that. So yeah, probably about 7 or 8. And from that time, I think maybe 8 something. They said, they're going to remove him from our custody because I couldn't take him to one medical appointment. And I did tell the hospital I couldn't take him. I told them the reason why.
Yeah.
How is that fair?
I don't know.
As parents, we have exhausted every aspect of everything we can look into. I've even written to the Prime Minister. I've written to the Victorian Premier, Daniel Andrews at the time, and the new one, Jacinta Allen. I've written to the local ones from Burton because I was advised. Well, we drove to Canberra to go to Parliament House to see if we could speak to somebody. They said, I can't speak to anybody face to face. This was early on, like the first week or the 2 weeks after we left the house at Burton, the rental property there. You can't speak with nobody. You give me the contact details of Matt Burnell, which is a member for Salisbury or Burton or something around that area. Email them. Every time I, send correspondence to somewhere, I don't get any answer back. The only answer I got was a letter back from the Prime Minister's office saying that would be handed over to the Victorian Premier because it seemed like an issue you were dealing with in Victoria.
Yeah.
Due to our housing issues and the power box being unlawfully removed. Now, when I bring that up with the power company, the power core, they said that that's all, they're allowed to do that, that belongs to them. They didn't do anything wrong. I'm not getting any answers, I'm not getting anywhere. He doesn't need to be here, he's medically fit. All he really needs is stable housing or accommodation. But DCP can only give you like 1 day or a couple of hours or a couple of days, and then last minute notice, you have to leave. Leave to go where?
You own the place that you have in Victoria. What town is that in?
Manangatang.
Which is just across the border from...
It's across a bit, yep. So it's about an hour and a half from Mildura, between Mildura and Swan Hill.
So it's an hour and a half away from Mildura?
About an hour and a half away from Mildura towards Swan Hill side.
Yeah.
About an hour and a half also from Swan Hill, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So about in the middle.
But you have issues with people in the town there, which is why you left.
Well, we haven't been there since 2017 when we bought it. Now the previous owner, he was communicating with us for 2 years, and he used to organise people to go and cut the lawns and do maintenance and sort of stuff, and giving us updates on that. And then he kind of went quiet. He's an old guy.
Yeah.
Also, the township is even be well known to him, because even my grandfather, and I found out from him after we organised to buy it, that it was actually my great grandparents' house, because my grandfather grew up in that area.
But what was the reason that you left the town and the house in 2017?
So we bought the house there, and we couldn't find, at the time we had a hobby farm also. Like we had like maybe 30 or 40 animals or something, like cattle, a couple of calves and sheep, goats, and a couple of pigs and some birds. And then we couldn't find any land anywhere, because we had to leave the rental property that we had started up the hobby farm with, which was a private rental. So we ended up being able to organise to buy the house directly from the owners. So we paid a deposit, and then we paid it off like weekly instalments without having an interest or any bank loans. We paid them directly. And then we found some land across here in South Australia at Midlanton, which I think is near Port Vincent, which was cheap enough to buy that at the time. We could do the same thing, pay it off like vendor finance, pay a deposit like $1,000, and then pay the rest off like weekly. It was something like 17,000 for the block or something. And then we came across here, and that all fell through because that was some kind of scam thing.
Yeah.
We went with the local police officer there too, to try and find the place. It wasn't existing, even though the road was there. So we ended up looking to see what we could do with the animals, because at that point they had to take them to an animal shelter for a bit until we tried to work something out. Anyways, long story short, we ended up staying over here for a few years because we prefer to stay over here anyways. In the meantime, it was much easier when he has like monthly infusions at the hospital, or checkups every 3 months or so for his eyes or whatever.
Yeah.
And at that point, the kids were already settled at school here, and then my partner got a job for a couple of years, which was steady, which was good income. So that kind of delays going back again, and then COVID hit, and we didn't want to take them back across the border because we didn't want them to have a PCR test done. So we thought that'd be quite awful at the time to have all the kids have to have a PCR test across the border and back.
Yeah.
So it kind of delayed until we went back last year before the son was born to find out that they'd been broken into and trashed and left open and quite messy from the rodents and that things and everything.
You hadn't actually been there since 2017?
No, we have the previous owner that we bought it from, or we're still buying it from at the time. He lives not far from there, maybe half an hour or so away. And he would go occasionally and give us updates, and then he would organise for someone to cut the lawn, and I would just send him the money, and he'd do that sort of thing for a bit, and then he kind of silenced off, went quiet. So I don't bring him up to annoy him about it, what's going on kind of thing, because he's an old guy. I don't want to give him too much pressure or whatever. So that was it. Yeah. And the local police officers there also, there was a new one. I found out there was a new one there from, I think, end of 2022, I think he said it was, because the previous one that was there passed away. Somebody lives in the police station there, because it's a small country town. And he knew like we had issues there with somebody stealing water earlier in the piece. We had about $1,000 or a couple of $1,000 worth of water being stolen early on in the piece. Just ongoing issues with somebody at that time also is breaking in the back of the shed, which is all locked up. It's got like 2 doors on it, like 2 small doors and 1 big. You can drive in, stealing simple things, a roll of wire or something. But they know issues there, but they can't seem to see anything or know anything, or nobody knows nothing coming as to why they can't see or know anything.
But it hasn't been rented out or anything like that in the past?
No, it's still got some of our belongings there, what's left there that hasn't been stolen, or tampered with, or now that's something, a lot of things now would be ruined because the mice have been in there.
Yeah.
Made a terrible mess really,
But there's no ability to sell that property or land and...
No, there's not really any land, it's just a townhouse.
It's just the what?
It's a townhouse.
Do you want me to leave your lunch a bit longer?
Oh yes, please, thank you. It's just a house in the township.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not really, it doesn't really have any land, it's obviously got its backyard, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't be able to sell that, or?
Not in the short term, obviously. You couldn't take someone to go and see it through where it's full of my species. Well, there's no power locks on there, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And DCP kind of tell us, you can go and clean up without the power. I said, how do I clean up without the power? I need the power to use commercial cleaning equipment. Also, top work. how do you do that? And also, I need to have money then also to have money to rent a truck to go on and move what is good, you know, or a skip or something to get rid of what is rubbish before we can actually start the cleaning process. But they're trying to say, oh, you know, you can go and clean up without any power.
But neither you or your partner are working at the moment.
No. Even if he wanted to get a job, he couldn't work at the moment because he had a workplace injury in 2021 where he was working at Tiffany's Bakery in the city there.
Yeah.
While in there, and his job consisted of ripping the raw dough out from the bowl, and he sustained an injury to his shoulder because it didn't proper workplace training provider or anything like that. So he ended up having a couple of injuries there with a bicep tear and some other stuff, burst, it's just whatever they call it, a couple of things there. So he had surgery for that, but his range of movement and his ongoing pain has been quite an issue. So I think like a lot of jobs, because most of the jobs that he's done is labour, manual handling, or like the food industry kind of job. So it's not really something he could probably do. Obviously, also not having a stable accommodation. How do you go to a job if you have to travel to go different places and you can't shower every single day? You couldn't do that. You wouldn't put yourself in that position because you make yourself look so stupid. Why show up when you can't present yourself well? It's not something you could ever do. Yeah.
I think essentially we're just waiting for DCP to turn up and say whatever they need to do on that point of view. So we don't know, essentially. But apparently there's follow-up booked for the toe in the Women's and Children's this coming Wednesday.
Yeah, he has an ophthalmology appointment then.
Yeah, and then
at 9:20, as far as I know. Yep, unless they change that.
And then I think they were coming in to have a chat and then work out what's going to happen with accommodation and everything from this point forward.
Okay, well. So when's that going to take place? Like 2 o'clock?
I reckon around 2 probably.
So about 2 o'clock, will I go out and help him bring the other kids in, or will we come in here, or what do we do?
Just wait for them to come in and then come up with a plan from them as well, okay?
Alright.
So a little bit longer and then we'll see.
Oh, that's okay. It's just like, it's quite annoying when you don't know, like, what are you doing, you know, kind of thing. Where are you going, what are you doing, kind of thing.
Yeah. And
obviously he's still sitting out there in the car. You have to run the car the whole time because it's so hot for the aircon.
Yeah.
So that's another thing.
Yeah, okay. I think it's just waiting for DCP. I might give them a call and see what they're doing because it's not acceptable to leave everyone just out there waiting. Anyway, so.
Well, honestly, like they seem to claim like their child protection service. As I mentioned to you before, many occasions they've pushed us to go back to the van without a plan as, you know, okay, this is the plan moving forward, we can do this in the meantime, or you can stay here until we try to organise the power thing. It's just the power reconnection was discussed the start of December. Like something could have already been maybe sorted out and then the process could have already begun and then...
Understandable.
I don't know, it's like, it's kind of like dragging out on and on and on. Oh, well, this can't be done properly because you weren't there and they couldn't see inside the house. But I said, how do you need to see inside the house? We went there, nobody showed up. Why does the electrician need to go inside the house to see anything, really?
Yeah.
Also, when they removed the power box, as far as I know, unless they broke in and went inside, nobody went inside. But I haven't got anything to verify that because obviously some people went inside.
Yeah. Okay. I think it's just going to be waiting for now. Do you mind if I have a quick look at the toe?
So I think if they had, if they're straightforward or they had better communication with what was going on a lot of the time, and they weren't
looking that bad,
lying and deceiving about things, it'd be okay.
Yeah. And it's not hurting you at the moment?
No.
No?
It's just, usually it's only tender when you touch it, like when I'm rolling the cream on, if I touch it a little bit, sometimes in some parts at the top, it might be a bit sore. Apart from that, it hasn't. I think except for one day, when we were at the motel last time, I think one day he complained it was a bit sore for a couple of minutes and then it was fine. Apart from that, he doesn't complain of any pain.
Okay. I think the plan of staying on the tablets and then following up at the Women's and Children's is still the only option
Yeah.
for that way.
Okay.
And
So
we'll
I
say
think I think there's one more full box of the Bactrim or whatever it's called tablets out there. I think there's
which
what
will
is
get
it,
you through till Wednesday when you say the women's
10
and
in a
children's
box.
doctors. Yeah.
1.5. Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
it should.
Okay.
Oh, good.
Alright, I'll let you know more when I know more, okay?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.